Yeah, can you hear me now? Guys, can you clearly?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yeah. So in the last class, we have seen how we are provisioning the server and how we are connecting it to the RDBMS and connecting to the service of the AWS RDS. And in a very simple way, what are the commands that needs once you get provision the EC2, you need to upgrade it through Yum repository and some of the artifacts which are present in the open internet, and then you need to provision the RDS, which is also a server type, database server type, MySQL, Amazon, Aurora, Microsoft. The difference between them, you need to get little bit hands-on, and then also hands-on with the SQL queries, so that you can connect your Java or Python or .NET using the drivers. Okay. So as an assignment question, take the first one, and Preeti, please take this assignment question, post it in the chat and also in the WhatsApp group of this
Okay,
workshop
sir.
or the training. Okay, so you'll be
Okay, sir.
using Java, and you'll be using the drivers of Java to connect to the particular RDBMS. Here, it can be in MySQL server or an Oracle, whichever you, and you'll be using the username and password in your Java code. And we have provisioned the RDS. We were able to select the security group of this and the security group of this, as making it as incoming security group of this EC2. Okay, and we have seen that whenever the client hits the URL, or client tries to access through the DNS and the load balancer, it can go through here. This is the whole concept, but whole concept of the web application. Or in another example, I can give you application to application, where only server and server communicate with each other. Okay, so this web application using the browser, the client connects using the DNS name through the URL in the browser, and here. And we have two things. One, once we have developed all the code which is running good, and after 6 months, suddenly you get a call from the client, okay, saying that the people are complaining that it's not working. You are getting 404 or any other issue. People are non-technical, they don't even they don't understand what are the status codes of the server giving. Okay, so as an assignment question, understand what is the status code. When you get 200, when you get 404, what is the on the browser, what is the meaning of it? And when you get 200, what is the meaning of it? I mean, you won't see the 200 as the status code which will be in the browser console, but as an assignment question, and understand all the version HTTP status codes which are returned from the server. The client whichever request through the server, you get and response in a HTML format, and HTML is rendered at the browser. Browser understands only the HTML as a language, and it renders where to keep the button, where to keep the logo, and along with that it gives the status code. If it is 200, then everything is fine. Your request was successful. If it gives a version of 400, anything like 403, 404, 500 version, this is regarding the servers. So understand the server statuses which we are getting, or which you might sometimes see the status code coming. Then you will, as a technical person, as a developer, you will understand that this is a problem of the server. This is the problem, somebody has not authenticated in the 300 version, 300 300. Okay, now today's class we are going to see about the CloudWatch helps you in many ways, like to monitor the system which is actively you are monitoring. I have given you example where you are doing it passively. Passively in the sense, you get a call, you are discovering that the website is not working. We have one of the website, that is reguljewelers.com, and after 9 a.m., because the active users were more than 50K on that particular day, it went to 5 lakhs active users, these crashes. Then after 3 hours, you get a call, technical manager or the company which is maintaining this thing, they will have a group of people, group of developers, group of people working in the production support for this project. Nowadays what happens is that in some of the companies, you might be working as a developer in one project. Okay, for 4 hours, your accountability for one day is 8.5 hours, and for 4 hours you will be working in one project as a production support, another developing the project. So this project which is made, which is actually developed and running in the production, you will be seeing the code of at the business logic layer in Java, so seeing the code how it is working, so that whenever there is a disruption, whenever there is an exception, whenever there is some complaint, some tickets raised saying that some transaction is not happening, some buttons are when they're clicking there is no action happening, so you'll go to that codes, check the logs at the business logic layer, check the logs. So this is the passive way that you are that we guys do. But how can we do it in my active ways that you can set alerts? But to set the alerts, what technology you can use if cloud isn't there? Any idea?
No, only in cloud, sir.
Without the cloud, think that we are in a pre-cloud era, there is no cloud service provider, everything is running on a on-prem server, and you want to include alert system. If this system is down, you want to include, get a message on the network, message on the email, SOS message, or maybe from the database also, if the database is totally full, or if there is any issue in writing, reading, there are many things, right? Each and every layer, if I say layer, this is the load balancer DNS layer, this is the layer at the business logic, this is at the database layer. Here, what are the things you can get as an error saying that the database is full? Suddenly 5 lakhs active users, and it's not able to give the response. This layer is working fine, but database isn't working fine. Some other things as an issue you get from the database side is that there is a buffer overflow, there is less space. You only got 1 GB, some T2 micro kind of on-prem server you have taken with very less hard disk of the server itself, or maybe the application as a database is crashing. So you want the logs, you want an alert. So how can you do the logs? How can you get the logs? You need, and how can you get the alerts? Any idea? Without using the cloud, because we are in the pre-cloud era. Think that this is 2003, and we are dealing with an issue. We have a production, we have a project in the production running, and it has been 2 months, but we need we got an idea, we got a requirement from the client that okay, it shouldn't be passive, actively you need to monitor. If they anything going down, you should get a
Sir, your volume is very
Alarm.
low, sir.
yeah. Is it my volume correct now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
I think I need to keep my mind facing towards this. Okay. So you got, how will you keep this logs? How will you keep the alert system?
alarm, sir.
Yeah, which technology? You will research, right? You will research in the market, how you will Google, you see the companies, any startup who are making these alarm systems, or if the same company which gave you the server, you'll ask them, is there any tool which can give you an alarm if the CPU utilization is high, if your the disk space is low, these kind of alarms it has to give at the DB side, at the server side. Then you will be again purchasing, because these are not free, right? These tools and other things, you'll be purchasing the license for them, whatever you are using it for 6 months you purchased, and if there is no high utilization, if there is no disk space issue, then it will be running the alert, it will be running the logs, skimming through the logs. I'll come to the topic of logs, but alert, there is no single alert, then it's a waste of money, right? You'll think that for the next 6 months I won't buy it, I won't install it, I won't renew the license. So this is the way how the actual project works in live in the company or in any MNC. They think about each and every angle, actively, passively, and during the development, after the development, in the production, and how to add the features without disrupting the actual production code. Okay, so here we have one more concept called as a log aggregator. Log in the sense, you'll see once you get an issue saying that I'm not able to pay you the amount and nothing to add in the cart, you will go and check the logs, what is happening, you'll check for the exceptions. Again, you'll check for the exceptions here. Again, you'll check for the exceptions in the front end code wherever the server is hosting it. And the new concept where a person who's only a Java developer will be only checking at the business logic layer, the DB experts will be checking it. They will say that there is no issue. Even if they find some issue, saying that say Java file input output error, they will throw the ticket towards the business logic layer, saying that okay guys, this is the Java error. We don't have anything to do about it. These guys will say this is a React error or Angular error. The button isn't functioning because it stated some HTML kind of thing in the log or buttons, anything the DOM related issue. They search it in the log. They'll just find out okay, this is related to DB or uh, front end side. That is the reason person nowadays a particular developer with a full stack knowledge is preferred in a project, so that he is aware about what is going on the DB side, and if there is any error, he can develop those during the development. As a full stack developer, he will be able to develop the tables, the DDL, DML here, and he can also develop the Spring Boot project or maybe a Node kind of and the front end React and Angular. So anybody who is familiar with all the three will be able to predict. Okay, we'll say it's checking the logs, but even checking the logs is also time consuming, and every hour, half an hour, if the client says I'm losing millions of rupee or millions of dollar every hour, then you will be under pressure to see the log. So you will buy a tool called as a Splunk. So as an assignment question, you understand what is Splunk and how it works, and you can skill up and add it in your resume once you are good. If you have interest at the SQL, RDS, and the Splunk logging aggregator, this is a tool in the market currently booming, and you can actually skill up in this, add up on your resume, and as a fresher, you'll be having a good giving a good competition to others when they compare your resume to other at the selection stage. Okay, so Splunk, what does it do? It will take all the logs, it will keep in its Splunk server, and this server will have the alert stating that okay, you have got three or four more four kind of exceptions. You keep an alert if there is any file kind of exceptions, if there is any XYZ kind of exceptions at the business logic layer or at the DB. It will get all the logs at one side, and you can see the pattern, how what was the traffic, what was the other parameters like utilization, but only about the logs, not the parameters of these servers, only the logs which this this server is generating. It will show the analytics part of that. That is the Splunk. Now, keeping this tool, keeping XYZ tool, and having a log aggregator extra tool, it's a very cumbersome, right? So we can opt for the AWS, we can get the EC2, we can get RDS and Route 53. Here, CloudWatch as a service, CW, CloudWatch as a service is integrated into many of the resources. And each resources, if I speak very precisely, have many metrics like EC2, the your CPU utilization, right, will be one metrics you where you want it the use utilization of this is going to 90%. You want another server to be provisioned with the same parameters, with the same operating system, same antivirus. Now you can check like this, stating that it has to be scalable, and if the CPU goes up till 90%, then directly in the same Mumbai data center, create a new server, and the load balancer has to redirect to here. Is it not good?
Yes, sir.
So we'll do hands-on with, we'll understand all the metrics of the server. At the RDS side, what are the metrics? It's like the memory utilization and other things. So we'll do hands-on, we'll create one alert, and we'll see the utilization, CPU utilization as a hands-on with the CloudWatch. Okay. I'm going mute for 10 to 15 seconds and logging into console. If you guys have any doubts, let me know after that. Yeah. Okay, guys. If we see the console of if you see the console of CloudWatch, you can directly go into CloudWatch, and all the services in the AWS, what are the things are integrated here. You can see currently. Okay, let's create. First, go to the dashboard. Let's create a dashboard here. One by one, slowly we'll understand the whole things. Dashboard. Raghu, we'll keep it as 10 p.m. batch dashboard. Okay, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Create the dashboard. Let's see. How do you want to view the metrics? How do you want to view the CPU utilization? Let's take first the line graph. Later we can change it.
Lines.
Lines. And you want to see the metrics or the logs? Let's go with the metrics, which is more
Metrics.
visual. Configure it. Okay. Now this is untitled. You can see today we are doing with the EC2 10 p.m. batch. EC2 10 p.m. batch metrics. Okay. In this, you can see that currently, do we have any EC2? Let's provision in EC2 until that, so that parallelly it goes. EC2, we should have some resources, else how will we get the utilization of it? Current running instance, I have 0. Launch the instance. Yeah, I will select the free tier. Configure. Yeah, we don't have anything as a subnet. Okay, fine. VPC storage, fine. Tag is fine. Security group. Okay, we'll add it. We won't be accessing the server, but still review and launch. Okay, good. And we'll be using 10 p.m. Is there anything recent we have done? New pair for RDS will do it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is it the recent one, new pair for RDS, or is the RDS hands-on key pair? New pair for RDS, right?
Yes, sir. 10.
We won't be,
One.
however, logging into the server. We'll be only seeing the metrics of it, right?
Okay.
So let's see. Yes, this is under construction. Okay, and currently we don't have any. Let's see more things about what we can do. We can get the metrics from ELB, Elastic Load Balancer, what load balancers are. If you want any backups. What's EBS? And EC2. What's the full form for this one? We have done a lot of hands-on with EC2 and not EBS, but what's EC2 full form? Don't Google it.
Elastic Compute Cloud.
Elastic Compute Cloud, ECC. Instead of ECC, we call it at EC2. So let's take EC2, and in this EC2, if I give you an example with the paint, okay. Inside the paint, if you have one EC2, let's take in a very simple way one server. Currently, we always took the example with one or two server in the same region. So if you have some group of servers, you can keep it in a group. Okay, you can name it as a group as a G1. Okay, so are we going to do? No, by auto scaling group? No, per instance we'll do. We are dealing with one to one. So in this, this is a little bit. You can, if you're able to view, let me know. So in the EC2, these are the different metrics you can actually calculate. If that metrics is going with more than 2 as a number, 2%, 4% in that way. Now CPU credit balance. You have the if you want to include this, you can directly select. Basically, CPU credit balance, CPU related to the finance part of the CPU and credit usage. Okay, and let me see what is the server name here. 904D44. 904. You need to select that particular EC2 only. 904.244 will keep the EC2 CPU utilization. If anything goes as a surplus credit charged, if you are only keeping $2, okay, this will change to 246 depending upon this one. But I selected, no, I have not selected. So you can see these are the CPU utilization for this server, but I don't think
You can search.
I can search it here.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I'll get only. But why I'm getting only media token? Is it not?
In
Yeah. So I can refresh. Add widgets, line, text. We'll add the matrix, configure. We'll add the matrix for EC2 per instance.
Instance.
Yeah, per instance metric. And we'll be doing the CPU utilization metrics and only for E. Is there any? Oh, I think it takes time to get connected here. Yeah, CPU utilization. We have this as the server. Did not match any metrics. Okay. From the server perspective, if you open the server, you have many of the things like monitoring. Okay, you have one of the thing as a monitoring. In the monitoring, you can find that what is the CPU utilization, and you can refresh, add to the dashboard. In the dashboard, if you add it, you can add the CPU utilization for this particular. It will be redirected to this particular dashboard only, 10 p.m. dashboard, and yeah, we need to add it manually here. But one more thing in here is, let me go back. Yeah, CPU utilization from the EC2 only, you can have a detailed monitoring. The other metrics is that status check field. If there is any failed errors, it will show here. If there is any failed instance at a particular instance or the system in the sense the server only. And the other metrics is about the network inside. That means whatever the request that is received, network out is the whatever the data or the response that is going out. Okay, and with respect to the hard disk or the EBS, you have the disk read operations, there are write operations, CPU credit balance. Now these things are not working now because our EC2 we have not logged in and done any activity. So as an assignment, just log in and upgrade yum update -y. If you do, then this CPU utilization will increase and then decrease. We will do hands-on in the CloudWatch, manage detailed monitoring. Now, this is a paid version, that is a managed detailed monitoring. If you enable and save it, you will see a different intuitive GUI here in the monitoring, stating manage detail monitoring. It will give in detail for all the other things and with respect to the time. So this time is like in the last 1 hour, whatever the things happened in the last 12 hours, because we just provisioned this server, right? Or you can customize this stating that how many minutes you need, how many days you need to capture the particular metrics like CPU utilization or where's the network packet? Yeah, network packet in the last 12 hours. Let's go to this particular EC2 and EC2 per, we have 10 minutes, but we will provision one thing and then complete it. Okay, let's go for the CPU utilization for this. Yeah, 44E. Now we got it right. 44E. We need to wait some time until this EC2 is getting replicated in the CloudWatch other service of the. So I'm keeping the CPU utilization, create the widget, and then you will have our dashboard. Save the dashboard, which is the 10 p.m. dashboard only with CPU utilization. You can add another widget of the line. Let's add of the pie chart for, I think it is metrics only for S3. Okay, you have another thing called as S3. Okay, what is S3?
simple storage service.
Yeah, if you open S3, and do we have our batch S3? Have we created any bucket?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir.
Maybe I might have deleted because I was paying for it. Sorry. Vijay hands on 3 and Vijay repo is from another batch. Let's go for the, okay, we'll use Vijay Repo 2. Okay, let's copy this. And now what is the bucket? What are the metrics that you can see in the bucket? Any idea? How many bucket is like you are not bothered about the CPU utilization. Yeah, yeah. Please go on, Rahul. Yeah.
Object number of objects storage.
Yes, it is in bucket, right? The number of objects created, put by someone, removed by someone, deleted by someone. So those are the actions that can be performed. On the EC2, what are the actions can be performed? It is you deploy something, your CPU utilization, the hard disk space, network in, network out, packet in, packet out. So depending upon the resources, those kind of metrics, you can actually go and do hands-on. How many matrices are there? See the bucket size. If the bucket size increases, bucket size, if you have one bucket, what is the other bucket? See Vijay report 2. With respect to Vijay report 2, add it in the search. What are the things we can do on it? It is we can monitor the bucket size. If in this there are many files which are added, which goes up till 5 TB or 8 TB, right? This is big data we are working on the project. And the number of objects, you don't want number of objects currently. Let's add both of them and say it as S3 10 p.m. batch. Okay, this is the widget. You created the widget. Now you can see, you can refresh, and as an assignment question, can you get the graph on it? What is the issue with this one? You can view the logs.
There is nothing, no changes right now, sir. After changes, we can see it.
Shall I upload anything? This is chat.txt. Let's upload, add files. Let's go to any file. Let's add the pic of AWS itself. Okay, upload. It is uploaded, and you refresh it from the last 1 hour. It takes time to replicate. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you can take the average, you can take the maximum, minimum, and you can take since the last 1 week what has happened. So there is some,
Yes, sir.
so you can take in the last 1 hour, but I think it will take time to replicate. 3 hours, 12 hours. Okay. So view in metrics. Let's go to S3, and you see any metrics as a monitoring there? Yes, graph to metrics. Number of objects. Yes, so you can see the graph here. S3 10 p.m. It's still not refreshing. We need to wait. But anyway, do the hands-on and as an assignment, create for the EC2 and S3. Okay, so anytime you want to learn what are the other metrics, see, this is increased. You got the utilization because it was just provisioned and then it came to zero CPU utilization. This will also begin, but it will take time. Okay, now the second thing is the alarm. Okay, you can create an alarm in the same way. Create an alarm, select the metrics stating that on the EC2, or what alarm can you create in Elastic Load Balancer, that if the load is heavy or it is not able to redirect it or above 50%. In the backup, I won't come here until another part. In the EC2, what are the other things you can do as a alarm? CPU utilization is the very common thing that we do, and networking, network out. As there are many responses going on, more than 50,000, you will get to know that they are active users. In the Elastic File Search, which is same like S3 only, but it is accessed directly by the server rather than any person. So in that Elastic File Search, the same like S3, so number of objects created. So those kind of alarms, Elastic Beanstalk, which we will not be covering, and the RDS. On the RDS, what kind of alarm can you keep, guys?
Queries, sir. Queries. Number of queries.
Yeah. So
Or add in objects.
yes, adding objects or the buffer size is increased, number of table has increased, the database is full. So in that way, you can see in the S3, let's take any alarm S3 storage. Let's take this Vijay Repo 2, you can bucket size and number of objects. Let's take an alarm, the number of objects, select metrics. Now it says that, see, now it reflected one. Number of objects, okay, I'll take it as average. Okay, one. If it is more than one, it will should give you an alarm. But where should the alarm be? I'm going on mute for 10 to 15 seconds, guys. Until that, please see the GUI.
Okay.
Yeah. So here you can see, guys. Can you hear me? Can you confirm that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So here you can see the condition is little bit logical to understand that use the value as a threshold or use the band as a threshold. Band is like some range from 3 to 17 on that way. So let's take a static value, which is if we are greater than, if anything greater than 1 added, let's take 2 added, you should get an alarm. What is this alarm? You can send a notification to SNS. Okay, this is not a direct notification. I can say, oh, take my mobile number, take my email, or take my WhatsApp number, send it to the WhatsApp. You always send the notification to the topic. Have you done hands-on with notification as a service?
No, sir.
Notification.
As a service, no. As a service, no, sir.
No, sir.
We already, like you mentioned, SNS.
Okay, I'll be doing notification as a service hands-on. So in a simple way, what happens is that in a notification as a service, you will create a topic. Okay, a topic will be created, and this topic can send it to email, send it to your network as an SMS, send it to another SQS as a queue, and any public, there will be a publisher and a subscriber. Subscriber will subscribe to this particular topic, and the subscriber will say, okay, send it to my email. Another subscriber can send it to my mobile as a notification. Okay, now we'll do hands on for that. So currently the topic I'm selecting here is CloudWatch. In this, whoever is been subscribed, they will get the email. Okay, and after this, if you get this alarm, what should happen to auto scaling? If you have any auto scaling group saying that if you have an EC2, in that suddenly any event, because of any event, you want these many servers to be online because of any event. Okay, you can set that particular EC2, those many auto scaling you can. Now, is there any EC2 action currently because of this is disabled because we are selecting this type of resources. So because of this alarm, you want to increase the EC2 count in Mumbai server, Mumbai data center. That also you can do. We are less than a minute. Just create next alarm name as alarm name and alarm description next. Okay, then you can see today we have analyzed for 2 and you'll getting a mail in that. Now you can create an alarm. Okay, it will take time to replicate CloudWatch, and you'll get alarms here which are totally number of objects to alarm name